going to introduce you submarine crab today. And submarine crab means a crab that live underwater. And which best do they live underwater is hydrothermal vents. And hydro means water, and thermal means heated by the earth. And so there's hot water, and it will come out from vents. Vent is like a volcano. And so you can consider it as an underwater hot spring. Okay, and it will usually near active places, and so it's underwater. So this is what it actually is. Okay, and the place is location is at coastal ridges or ocean basins. Basins means lower or close places in ocean. So if the place converges together and it will go down and it will be lower, so there's basins. In ocean ridge, two places that leave each other and magma come out. So there's hot spring. Right. And Taiwan also has the volcanic island. It's called Kueishan Island, and at the northeast of Taiwan. So this is what it actually looks like. And the white material is the things come out from the vents. So it's very shallow here. It's not quite deep. It's very near the water surface. Yeah. Right. And so we have a submarine hydrothermal vent crab of Kueishan Island, and we're gonna talk about trace metal. Trace metal. And these kind of metals will they're in your bodies. They are necessary to organism. So we have these metals in our bodies. And what is trace? This metal will accumulate in our body. Accumulate means stack, store, and so it will stack. Take a little part in our body. So trace means very small amounts, very little. Okay. So they are little metals. Okay. So this is the main character introduced today, and actually it's been introduced by Jackie 2 weeks ago. Okay. So I just call it extras for press. This is the purpose. The studies before have focused on those economic species, but this kind of crabs has very been discussed. And the properties we're going to talk about is the tissue-specific trace metals, and this kind of property has been observed. And what is tissue-specific? It means is the trace metal will distribute to different parts, different tissues in the crab's body. Okay. Okay. So this is the crab. It's the only macro cross-section species in that place. So it has those living environments. And what is cross-section? Okay, this is seafood and this is shell. And in my opinion, cross-section is you add two things together. And why I call this one? Why I don't call this one a cross-section? Because you don't eat shell. Okay, so this is cross-section. This animal with shell is called cross-section. This is cross-section. This is cross-section. Okay. And here's the materials and method. Because it's swallow, so we can employ a scuba diver to capture it. And okay. Right, the only macro cross-section species there. Okay. And after capture them, we freeze them and keep it fresh until being analyzed or in the experiments. Okay. So we take the tissue samples. So we know these three ones. But what is this? Hepatopancreas is a kind of gland, like you can consider it as a stomach. It will help you to digest food. Okay. So cross-section has it, and soft animals I forgot the name. Okay. Like shellfish, it also has it. Help them to digest food. Right. So here's the material method. During these high technologies process, okay, we got these trace metals dry weight. Okay, we got aluminum, palladium, cobalt, chromium, copper, iron, manganese, nickel, lead, zinc. Okay, so here's the result. We have 5 different trace metals and in 4 different tissues. Okay, so we take this part and made it into pie charts. And the gray one is electrostatin, and red one gill, and the orange one is hepatopancreas, and the pink one is muscle. Okay, so we got this. Okay, and we will store them into the discussion. And we know that the new tissue specific trace metal has been observed before. So what do they take from? Okay, it will from food or either from a solution. Okay, so the first one is maybe from digest organ like hepatic or pancreas. Okay, and a solution is such as gill. Okay, so about food, we know that the pancreas is digest gland, and now we know it's very important. Okay, so okay, alright. And about solution gills also have the similar function as former, but it is the first organ to be direct contact with the water and suspended particles. Okay, so we found this in results, and we can store them into this group, and we're gonna try to tell stories about this. Okay, we think of the factor of food. If the food is rich in metals, and so we guess it will stack metals in the hepatopancreas. And the main diet of these crabs is zooplankton, the float animals in the water. Okay, they're killed by hot fluid. It means the hot water comes out from vents, and then they are parboiled, and they drop down like snowflakes. So its main diet is marine snow. Okay, so it's full of metal, trace metal. And about solution is solution gills for solution, and pancreas for food. Okay. This is the property of the hydrothermal vents. And high temperature and low pH will cause increases of the dissociation of metal ions. Okay, so the gills will stack more metal ions in it. Okay, and we also found it, zinc and copper. Okay, so I can tell a story about it. Helium and zinc have been found in hepatopancreas, and high concentrations of copper and iron have been found in gills. So we guess it's because they are different in different tissues, distribution to different tissues. So we guess that it's because application of black metal. Okay, copper is a necessary of respiratory process. Means breathe, and to the crab it means fill the water from through a tube. Okay, and iron is also important to this respiratory process. And copper and iron should be more in gills. And this is the copper because the red part is the most. Okay, so we haven't mentioned about magnesium. This is special because this one is the more than 3 others is exoskeleton, means its shell. Okay. So about the mechanism, we guess it is because the mechanism is chemically similar to testing. So it's for use in the calcification of the exoskeleton. They make their shell by what's that? Calcium carbonate. But anyway, it's calcification. That means process to make their shell. And about zinc, it usually will be more in the orange one, hepatopancreas, because of digestion. But this one, the research we get, the result we get is also highest in the gills, right? So the highest concentration of zinc in a hydrothermal in other species of crabs have been found. Okay, so this is different from others' research. So they guess it's because of the habitat. Okay, so this is the conclusion. There is a tissue-specific accumulation, and most metals accumulate in gills probably because of respiration and relatively acidic and high temperature water, seawater. And concentration does not differ between the hepatopancreas and mussels. And they guess this is because the habitats, they take food, so the food will influence their concentration in different tissues. Okay. And mechanism is a special one, and the manganese enrichment in isocyanins may be caused by its co-precipitation with calcium carbonate, I guess. Precipitation means zinc broke down. Do you remember starch? Oh, okay. Mr. Chen in biology, general biology is a joke to say why starch is translated in Chinese like that, because it will precipitation. Okay. Okay, so this is the end. Thank you.
Okay. So 11 minutes 40 seconds.
Mechanism does participate in calcification.
Oh.
Repeat
Does the manganese
repeat this question.
take part in the calcification means co-precipitation of it doesn't mean take part in it. It means they sink together. They're turning to solid states and everything. And precipitation.
So they are both the sink one, and the crab can take and just take the calcium and remove the mechanism.
They take manganese.
Chen.
Right.
Could you explain
Respiration.
Yeah, again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, respiration, and we also have the
Respiratory process.
Anyway, respiration means breathe. You take oxygen into your body. Breathe. And for the crab, they take seawater through the gills in their bodies, and they take out oxygen. This is respiration.
Vanessa.
Pie chart.
Which one?
I want to ask what is 1 to 4 means?
1 to 4 is I just specify with them with colors. Gray one, exocyte and shell, and red one is gills, and its color, and pancreas, the digestion tissues is orange and muscle is pink.
Leona.
Right.
I want to know what is the value?
What?
What is the value between
Between what?
all
All
the colors?
the colors. Oh, you want to know all the. Okay. This is lumen, and this is the actual dry way to get.
Is that your question?
I think she means
No, you don't interpret for me.
Wait.
What's your question?
What happens?
I come back to you later. Becky.
Can you tell me what is your purpose in this trip?
Purpose. Okay. Purpose. Because research before that have been done on the economic species, means those species can help them earn money. Right. So these species has been really been discussed. Right. No one take care of it. So they do research on the scripts. Right.
Leona.
I want to know the value corresponds to
Which part? I just cut these parts, the actual data, the actual exoskeleton, gill, both pancreas, muscles, make them into pie chart with about percentage. So here's the actual data.
Alright,
Exos.
move on. Volunteer question. Any? One, Jay, Angelica, and oh my goodness, sorry. Ryan, okay. Jay.
You said you measured 7 elements, I think 7 or 8 or maybe 10.
Yeah.
So why don't you only
Because you say why I only mention about few parts of those 10 elements.
Yes.
Okay. Because this research is based on those has been discussed, those other species.
what is those other?
There are 20 of them. So I don't think I should put them into these slides. And they are the properties of tissue specific distribution has been found on those species, those 20 species. So they come here. Okay. Anyway, it's based on research that has been done before. So he just looked at I think gills, exoskeleton, pancreas. These three tissues, the metals contained in these three tissues, and it doesn't talk about muscle.
Okay, yeah, you didn't answer your question. Okay, Angelica.
What is the classical concentration means? And if copper higher, what is it?
Copper.
I just for example.
Because they, like you say, they just focus on few metals of it. So, copper, I guess this one. And other tissues concentration will. Oh, it's compared with other crab species that collected from different habitats or the same habitats. Okay, so they found that in these species live in a similar environment. They including the concentration copper and zinc in the muscle. So what does this mean?
Okay, we have to move on. Sorry, Ryan.
Is there any other that will affect the mental penetration in X squared beside food?
Any other factors affect trace mental concentration?
Any other facts will affect the metal accumulate in X squared beside food?
Food. Its solution and the other one, the figure didn't mention. In our factors, it just mentioned about food, habitats, and solutions means seawater.
Okay, my turn. Talk about strength. I think Jean is so far the only speaker in top one who is really looking at you all the time. That means Percy is confident, so he's very, very familiar with what he's talking about. But that came with another weakness, which is you spoke too fast. Okay, you were like, sometimes it's a little bit like you didn't really pay attention to what you're talking about because you just talk too fast. And at the beginning, he used many cartoons. Here, it's actually even before he introduced the title, the official title of his talk, before 19. He used a lot of slides here, so we saw a lot of images. However, when it entered the real official part of this talk, when we discuss the relatively boring trace metal, then you see the slides are wordy and are interesting. So this kind of contrast needs to be somehow balanced. Okay. And then you probably also noticed that these pie charts have all been made by himself. So there are many of you who made figures yourself, which is really nice. It's much better than these kind of tables, which is scary. However, following the comments of Leona, I think, her question actually implies that it's better, to improve this pie chart. There are two things. The other question from during the QA is, it's better because you only have 4 body parts or tissues. So it's really unnecessary to use 1, 2, 3, 4 here. You can just print out, this is skill or whatever. I don't even remember, even if you have only 4 tissues. So you should just print out, which is what? That's the first thing. Second, I don't like your color coding because they look similar. Shallow is pink, orange, and red. Why don't you use maybe red, yellow, blue, and green? Okay. So use bigger contrast, the second. Third, the question of Leona implies that it's good to just print numbers here. Yeah, in Excel, you can print percentage. Or I think maybe the Angelica's question is asking about concentration. Concentration is different from percentage. Is that your question or not? Okay, so that's really means, okay. But anyway, you have to know that this is percentage. It's not really concentration. So it is like a composition, relative composition, Okay. It's different from concentration. So you have many things to improve here. Okay, and then the last thing is the conclusions are quite specific. Okay, I can't find it. This. So this is quite specific. So these are all based on findings. Okay, now weakness. At the beginning, because he used these cartoons, and probably he thinks these are easy contents, so he can just skip them super fast. So at some point he was talking like this, and like changing his slides like this. So in that case, you are not really talking about the content. You are actually showing us slides and like doing things like this. Okay. So this is not good for a talk. So you should just put the slides that you really need, and then you switch the slides at a reasonable speed. Reasonable is like maybe for each slide you stay for at least 20 seconds, something like that. Okay.
So I should delete some.
Unnecessary ones. Okay. And then like back to this question, purpose slide is missing. You say this is a purpose. However, this is not a real purpose. You just said something has people pay attention to economic species, but not hydrothermal species. Are you telling us you are going to do that? You didn't tell us you are going to do that, did you?
Oh.
Well, for a purpose slide, you have to say very clearly what we want to do. You have to say we want to measure trace metal in hydrothermal crabs. Then that's very specific. Okay, and you need to talk slowlier. And then the discussion, as I mentioned, the introduction and discussion is not balanced. This is very uninteresting. And also, I have the feeling that because you display this in separate, this is your result, and maybe this one is zinc. Did you discuss zinc right after zinc?
No.
No. I would say in that case, maybe you show all the pie charts like this all together, and then you discuss one by one. If those interesting metals, like for example, if you want to discuss manganese, then you show us the manganese pie chart once, again, and then tell us what are the key points you want to discuss. If you have questions, come to me after the break. Okay, so otherwise I have the feeling that your discussion is not connected to your data. It's like you discuss whatever you want to discuss. Okay. So, but overall I think it's a good talk, so let's thank Jing.